Malcolm Johnson Jr. Could he be Auburn's sweetheart after a day? We talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Auburn.
Well, Zach, I actually just finished crushing some chicken farm, and I am freaking ready to rock and roll.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. It's everyone's favorite day of the week, except some people like Ferg Friday more, but there's a good chunk of people that like Charlie Tuesdays. We are joined by Auburn message board legend, Charlie 5. Let me tell you what, we didn't talk about this yesterday because there was so much that happened over the weekend. But Bryan Harsin's comments about wide receiver Malcolm Johnson Jr., they caught my attention. They caught a lot of people's attention.
Oh, yes.
Harsin was asked if any wide receivers are standing out, which is a great question to ask, may I add, because we've just speculating. Let's ask the man himself. Maybe we'll get an answer. We actually did. He said, quote, I think Malcolm has. I like Malcolm. I like where Malcolm is at. Well, let's overreact about this for a few minutes. Why don't we?
Well, I like where he thinks that he likes where Malcolm's at.
There we go.
That makes me happy.
I don't think you could have said that any better. I mean, there's been so much speculation and conversation and guessing about, okay, Shedrick's there. Javarius Johnson is there.
Open-ended question.
Who's next? Like, who's the other person there? Yep, you got a shanker, maybe another tight end, you got a running back. It's like that's what most of the sets are going to be. And so it's like, okay, who's the third wide receiver when Auburn goes 3 wide receiver, which I think we're going to see a ton of in 2022. And we said Malcolm Johnson Jr. a few times, like it makes sense because all the other dudes that I think are talented enough and quote unquote ready are slot guys. It's like, I don't really know if you could put Javarius Johnson on the outside consistently. I don't know if you could do that necessarily with like Tarvarish Dawson. We certainly could. I just don't. I have a hard time seeing that be successful there. So Malcolm Johnson Jr. offers a skill set that I think Shedrick and Javarius do not have as far as speed and stretching the defense. Gosh, when's the last time we've had that? A dude that could like legitimately stretch the defense. So if he took that step, if he could take that step, I think it'd be huge for the offense if he kind of was Auburn's number 3 guy.
Absolutely. I mean, it was an open-ended question. It could have been any wide receiver, and he went with Malcolm Johnson Jr., which is big because there's been a lot. I feel like there's been a lot of anxiety about the wide receiver position as far as like what people think. Like, seems like a lot of people are worried about it. You know, you're worried about you get fired up when we don't get a guy like Corey Rucker who went to South Carolina. Really looked at trying to pull in a big guy from the portal in the early period. And that's always seems like when you talk about portal, it's wide receiver. So it's good to hear names that are stepping to the forefront and sort of, making their presence known. And Malcolm Johnson Jr. has a very, you already said it, a very, very, I guess, extremely competitive, extremely I'm trying to think of the word. What's a good word for he has a lot of tools. He has a good skill set that can be utilized very, very well. Probably has a high
scale to work. You know what I mean?
Has a high ceiling because of his measurables. His 6 foot, good height, super fast, big body, can make stuff happen after the catch. Like that's what we need. And him excelling is very good for this offense.
I think so. Question. Who's faster or what is faster? Malcolm Johnson Jr. or a cheetah?
Oh, it depends. Has the cheetah had dinner yet? Because if that's the case, it could be Malcolm Johnson Jr.
That's what I'm saying.
He's faster than a full cheetah.
I'll take
about that. How about put that on a t-shirt?
I am. Yeah.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Faster than a full
cheetah. Yes.
What about Malcolm Johnson Jr. or light?
Oh, I turned the light off one time, and Malcolm Johnson Jr. was in the bed before I could get. What's that old saying? I was so fast I could turn the light off and be in bed before it got dark.
Well, there it is. There it is.
He's so fast that I turned the light off and he was.
I got it. Yep, you nailed it. That was good. That was good. All right, I don't know where to go for after that.
Yeah, no, I mean we're peaked. Great show, Charlie 5 on Twitter.
Yep, we'll be back tomorrow. Jay Fair, I think still. I mean, I love him. Like I'm just gonna say it. I love him.
Great film.
His Instagram game is really good as far as posting pictures of himself. I don't know who's taking these pictures of him, but he's getting them.
Yeah.
And he's posting them more than all the other players are. So I don't really know what that arrangement looks like, but I love it. I think it's great.
Content king.
Jay Content King Fair.
What's more royal? Jay Fair or Burger King? I don't
know. Jay Fair. No question about it.
There you go.
No question about it. But he can't play outside, right? I mean, do you think he's a slot dude?
Gotta be. He's just such a mismatch in the middle. He's super quick laterally. Quick over fast, I guess, is a good short burst type guy.
Yeah.
But he's thick. He's pretty thick for a smaller built guy too. So I just like having a weapon in the slot, like guys that they could have 10 catches for 65 yards. You know what I mean? Like those guys that just get open right in small spaces and can get 6-7 yards a catch every single time because they're on a linebacker or a safety and they just murk him and pick up tough yards in the middle. Like I love stuff like
that. Or is that Julian Edelman? I can't tell.
Yeah, something like that. Exactly. A guy like that. Julian Edelman, if you play him, he's going to have 22 catches for 65 yards and just drill you in a PPR league. That's what I see out of Jay Fair.
And 3 concussions.
Yes, but not Jay Fair.
If you're in a concussions league, then you're going to be golden with Julian Edelman. No, I think I'm with you. But man, and I know you mentioned missing out on Corey Rucker. I think that's why that's so big. Because like I still don't really know where the numbers receiving yards are going to happen. I just don't see it. Even like Cedric Jackson, and I think Cedric Jackson is better than most people think he is, right? Yeah. And I think and I wrote a story at auburndaily.com weeks ago about how like from an analytics standpoint, like he's not awful. I just don't think he was used correctly. And so like when he ran inside and was targeted inside, he was actually pretty good. But his outside, the number stuff was just bad. And so when you're an outside receiver, and that's where the most of your snaps are coming from, it's just like I don't see that. So
it's a skill. It's learning how to throttle your speed to be able to speed up, slow down, down the field. The ball you're catching a ball from the farthest distance typically. So it's going to take more hand-eye coordination and all that good stuff. So yeah, it is a skill that we've had sorely lacked the last several years. So
yeah, and ball placement and quarterback play has not
a lot to do
with
that.
It
hasn't.
And honestly, TJ, I don't know about Calzada, but I think TJ, just because he's got a stronger arm as far as power goes, may be better at stuff like that. The placement's iffy, and the placement needs to be really good on the outside. But as far as getting it there, because I mean, like you said, that's why it's so tough. Is the ball is in the air longer.
Yeah.
And so defenses can react more. So it's tough, but Auburn doesn't have that dude. And I think Corey Rucker could have done that. And so we'll see what they do.
I see a lot of Malcolm Johnson Jr. in Corey Rucker's film. I see a lot. I look at Malcolm's high school film and Corey Rucker's college film, and they do look a lot. They have a lot of similarities. So, maybe that can be our guy.
And still, like people forget, Malcolm Johnson Jr. is a year younger than he's supposed to. I mean, he skipped his senior year. Not only is he
reclassified,
super fast, he's super smart. He like skipped a grade.
Yeah, and he's super
like
early.
Senior year. No thanks, I don't need that.
Exactly. So that is a good point. A lot of people need to remember. I mean, he may barely be 19, or like maybe just now 19.
Yeah. So yeah, and so just physically, I mean, your body just gets so much more Much more change when you go through that, obviously. So
exactly
worth noting. But yeah, Malcolm Johnson getting the praises of Coach Bryan Harsin over the weekend. So Malcolm Johnson is obviously a name you need to watch this weekend for A-Day. But what are some other names that Auburn fans should be looking out for and paying attention to this Saturday in Jordan-Hare Stadium for A-Day? We'll talk about that in just a moment, but I want to tell you about our friends at Built Bar. I ate a Built Bar yesterday, caramel macchiato, had it for breakfast with my coffee, dipped that thing in my coffee, swirled it around a little bit, and I ate it. It was delicious. I cried when it was over, but I was also happy that it happened. Also, Built Puffs are delicious. They're these protein-infused marshmallows. Built says they're the first ever protein-infused marshmallows. I'm assuming that's true, which is really, really cool. They're fluffy. They're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar. They're a treat. They're also covered 100% in chocolate. They're delicious. They're very, very good. So most Built bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. That's right. 17 grams of protein. Keeps you full and keeps you happy. That's the most important thing. Built.com. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off. That is at Built.com. Charlie 5, there are a ton of names that we've talked about over the last month or so during the spring, but Saturday's where it really all comes to a head. Does the game mean anything on Saturday? Does it not? Whatever. We'll talk about actual things to take away, but as far as specific names, specific names to look for on Saturday, where are you starting? What is the first guy that comes to mind when I ask that question?
Well, for me, I'm thinking the defense is probably going to have a significantly better day just based off what I've been hearing and, the injuries on the offensive line. What we've already talked about wide receivers. So who's going to stand out on the defense? And my number one that I always talk about, I've been excited since the height, weight have come out is Cam Riley, that large child from Evergreen, Alabama that runs like a deer, 6'5", 230. Cam Riley, where is he going to be on the field? Is he going to be in the middle at linebacker? Is he going to play some edge? Is it outside linebacker? We've heard a little bit about him everywhere, and I feel like he's built to be he's athletically gifted and can be sort of like a Swiss Army knife. He can do a little bit of everything. Line up in the middle, line up on the edge, go get the pass, go get the quarterback, wreak havoc in the backfield, cover backside in the flat. Like, I can't wait to see Cam Riley.
And what does he do Saturday, and does it change when Owen Papo comes back?
Yeah, that's a great question.
What of that linebacker spot? And I kind of get the vibe that Cam Riley won't be impacted. It'll be more Wesley Steiner that's impacted when Owen comes back. I don't know that. Yeah. I also would not be surprised if Eugene Asante hopped Wesley Steiner in the depth chart. That's just kind of something I'm feeling. It seems like Eugene's really, really getting it, but Wesley got first snaps just because he was here. But that's kind of another name to watch is what does that rotation look like?
Yeah.
With Auburn's linebackers, because you got to always think one of these guys will not be on the field because Owen Papo is going to play the vast majority of snaps.
He can stay healthy.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So that's something to watch, but that's a good one. I'm going to say on the defensive side of the ball. Another guy that we talked about when we did our reaction to the updated roster and the weight changes, Cayden Bridges. Does he start at safety? Who does start at safety? Does Cayden Bridges sub in with the starters? Is he with the second team? I think that's going to be really, really important because he's a dude that I think his teammates have a whole lot of respect for. Donovan Kaufman came on the show last week and talked about Cayden Bridges because I asked about him. But still, I think he talked really highly of him. It seems like everybody understands that he is putting in a ton of work, and so
clearly maximum effort.
20 pounds in a year. That's crazy. That is crazy. But yeah, so don't be alarmed. It's not the Golden Gate Bridge on Pat Dye Field at Jordan-Hare Stadium. It's Cayden Bridges.
Cayden Bridges.
Yep.
Multiple.
So that's a name to watch. What about an offensive guy? You got an offensive guy other than Malcolm Johnson Jr. who's faster than the speed of light?
Oh, I mean, obviously, I'm really curious to see Robbie Ashford. Believe it or not, I've been hearing when he first came here, we sort of looked at it like we were just kind of giving a local guy a shot who left Oregon. But like I've heard a lot that he's really impressing. His accuracy is what's something that people have been kind of really shocked about, because I think that was one of the big knocks on him. But big athletic kid. It's going to be a lot of him and TJ in the spring game. So like, what does Robbie look like? I mean, if that kid can put it together, I mean, that's a Justin Fields type athlete playing quarterback. Body size, arm strength, athleticism. I mean, that's what you're looking at if he can get it together here and get the system down and learn how to actually play a quarterback and not just be an athlete playing quarterback. So I'm very intrigued to see how Robbie Ashford performs sort of under the proverbial lights.
Yeah, I kind of hate it for him because it kind of feels like this is it. If he doesn't win this job, is he ever going to have, like, the timing just seems tough for him. Like, if he doesn't win this battle somehow,
where does he win it? Like, where does he have a chance to win it?
Yeah, if it's not this year, does he stick around? Does he, I mean, he's got plenty of eligibility left, but you got to think it's Garner after whoever wins this job. So
you would think.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Boy, 6'4", 220.
Ooh, there's a lot to like, man.
Lot to love. Yes, absolutely.
Ooh, lot to love. Okay. And he wears number 9, and I think that's important.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that.
Super fast.
Single
digits.
That.
Can fly.
Yeah, he just got a 10th cut off of his 40, 10th of a second. That's great.
The weight of the paint on the jersey. I mean, you take a number off, and you're like, man,
it's science. Yeah. We
like
science.
Totally lighter.
So there's that. I mean, because it's on the front and the back. You know what I mean? It's
not so technically it's 2 numbers. Yeah, good point.
So that's just worth thinking about for all the physics.
We think outside the box.
For me, it's the whole offensive line, not necessarily like what they do, but just the order they're put in the game. And how many of the starters play. Like Keandre Jones been battling some stuff. But yeah, just the order where everybody goes, because I think whoever's at right tackle first really, really matters. If it's Alec Jackson or Brendan Coffey, I guess it could be Killian Zaire. It seems like he's been pretty much at left tackle primarily, but whoever takes snaps first at right tackle, to me, may be the favorite to be starter at that spot.
Yeah. I'm with you.
So I guess, and right now I'm going to guess that it's Alec Jackson. Yeah. Just based off of kind of practice reports. So I guess either Alec Jackson or Brendan Coffey are my names on offense to watch.
Yeah, I'm with you. Offensive line is going to be a very important one to watch. I've heard some stuff out of the scrimmage. We did a lot of goal line stuff and still not getting much push at all in the run game. So
I don't think that's that concerning, just because you can make an argument like four of the 5 starters are not there. So like what the offensive line has done so far, like it doesn't really matter to me.
Maybe not, but like the same, when you're having the same exact issues, just still not being able to get much push running the ball when you have, and heck, what happened to Jarquez? Did they get him smashed because they can't get, I mean, I don't know. It just got to start seeing a little bit more improvement. We've added nobody in the portal to help. And I don't know.
That's a problem. Right.
And I don't know who's going to be there that's going to be worth bringing in other than developmental type players from the portal after spring to be able to remedy some of the pretty gaping holes that we have. So, how do they look? How do some of the young guys look? Like, like a Garner Langlow that's got good praise, a Colby Smith, who's just an absolute monster child going into his second year. Some of these young guys, see what they have.
Right. All good points. Yep. All good points. All right, Charlie 5. There are bad takes.
And then this.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about in just a moment here on Locked On Auburn. Hey, today's show brought to you by BetOnline.net. It's your number one source for all of your betting needs and sports info. Hopefully you guys got involved in the action in last night's national championship game. Yeah, a lot of money was on the line all over the place. So BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports betting information and, of course, sports betting itself. Head to the website or use your mobile device to learn more about all of the trends and the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Charlie 5.
Oh, boy.
Charlie 5.
We're going to go here, aren't we?
Show move to YouTube. It has been awesome. It's been awesome because like podcasting doesn't really have that commenting feature yet. And so like, it's been awesome to listen to what you guys have to say. And some of you guys have been able to ask questions and get involved, because not everybody's on Twitter. And I don't always check the show's email. So that's on me. But there was a comment yesterday, and I'm not going to say the person's name, but you can go look. I didn't delete it or anything. I think it's still there. He may have deleted it. I don't know. But I tweeted about it. A lot of people feel the same way we do. Most people. 98% of people. Maybe 99%. I can't say everyone. This was the comment. And remember, yesterday's show was about Walker Kessler leaving.
Oh, boy.
Right. All right.
I'm trying not to get mad, but go ahead.
No, get mad. I don't care.
Okay.
Here's what the comment said. Quote, "So what's the point of getting these good players to come to Auburn, but they only stay one season and bail? Didn't even win the SEC tournament and got embarrassed in the second round of the NCAA." First question, is this real? And the second question, how in the world as a fan base did we get here? And this is the vocal minority, but like, holy cow. What a bad day.
Let me tell you who this person is. Okay. All right. So there is an Auburn football fan there's Auburn football fans that are like super duper positive. And that's all these people are those people. Okay. They're super duper positive. So if there's for some reason, being good in basketball makes them feel threatened. So it's like they're overly hypercritical on basketball. And then opposite football, they're like super like, I'm going to be a spin doctor, positive spin. It's weird, but it's the same person. Like if you have conversations and you find somebody if you find a person who is a super positive football fan, they're going to be hardcore, like negative on the other sports like baseball or basketball. And I feel like it's because they feel like it's threatening or something right there. That could not be that could not be a worse take. So what you're saying, because here's the deal. They want to use the anomaly they want to take the exception, not the rule, of Auburn going to the Final Four, getting hot with a bunch of juniors, and Chuma Okeke, who was the best player in the tournament, who was a sophomore, essentially playing his first year of basketball. They want to take that and make that the rule instead of the exception. So what you're telling me is you're okay with not being that very good for 2 years, so you can have a good run your third year and then start the cycle over again and be average to bad for 2 years and then be good again the following year, versus trying to go get the best players every single year. And what we did, we beat the crap out of nearly everybody we played. We just got in a weird spot where we couldn't shoot and got cold around tournament time. And it didn't have anything to do with one and done players. We set the record for the most blocks ever. I mean, Kessler was amazing. Jabari was absolutely amazing. We're going to say we don't want those guys now? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's ridiculous.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, so get out of here.
Well, most of the responses were like, so you'd rather have a worse player for 4 years than a great player? Like, I just remember, I say this from time to time when it comes up and when we talk about how far this program has come. But like, I remember being, coming home from school, whether junior high or high school, and going to games with my dad at Beard Eves.
Yeah.
And just like, you could walk up and get a ticket, like $5. It was nothing.
Oh.
And then like, there was nobody else there. And to what it's become now. And it's like, if you would have told me at that point that Auburn was going to have several people leave early for the NBA and get drafted, not even like lottery picks, but just drafted, I wouldn't have believed you. I just wouldn't have. And the fact that now it's like, well, what's the point of getting these one and done guys or these two and done guys? Are you kidding me? That's the goal. Like, that's the point. Like, that's why you go out and get like high 4 stars and 5 stars and go out and get the best transfers in the portal.
I mean, we started last year. We really only started one true freshman, and he's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. Like everybody else was even though they were new guys, like Kessler's a one and done, he's a sophomore. Allen was a junior. KD's a sophomore. Wendell's a sophomore. Like we're not going and getting a whole bunch of like one and done freshmen. Everybody let's say, oh, what about Miami? They had a bunch of 22 and 23-year-olds. You got to have those old guys if you want to win a championship. You know what Miami's record was the last 2 seasons? 10-17 and 15-16. Is that what you want to do? Get a bunch of no names and develop them for 2 years and get your tails beat for 2 years and then hopefully go on a run and get to the Sweet 16 their junior year? Is that what we want to do? Or do we just want to go get the best players and let the chips fall where they may? Like,
and then the tail end part of the comment didn't even win the SEC tournament. It's like, are you joking?
We won the regular season, which Kentucky wants more.
Agreed upon.
Yeah,
that you would much rather win the regular season outright. May we add
outright? Yeah, the dumbest thing. That is a non-educated basketball fan who is a hardcore football fan who is threatened by success in basketball and has a inferiority complex about the football team. That is who that fan is. That is who you are. And you know it's true. You know it's true. You know right now, if I were to say something about Bryan Harsin negative or something, you'd fight me tooth and nail to the death about it. But then if I say something positive about Bruce and we went out in the second round, you're going to fight me because you have an inferiority complex. That's who that fan is.
Same people where I was like, all right, we signed Bruce Pearl for life. And they're like, no, it was 8 years, 8-year extension, wasn't for life. I'm like, okay.
Or what's Bruce's record been since he signed the contract extension? Like they're trying to be sharp, Inferiority complex is what it is.
You got us.
Yep, I'm with you. Let's just stop recruit. Let's call Troy, pull his offer. We're going to go get some 3-star no name, and in 3 years he'll be a junior, and we'll hopefully go on a run because that's the formula. It seems like.
Yep, every 3-star is Bryce Brown. Every 3-star is Bryce Brown and Jared Harper.
Every single one of them are that good when they get to be juniors. If you just wait, that's the formula for success. You just have to suffer through sucking for 2 years, and then eventually you can go on a run.
All of them, just
dumbest thing I've ever heard. We got a chance to. We add Johan Traore. There's a good chance we could add 2 or 3 more draft picks to this team before this whole thing's over. And then still keep our guys that have experience. Like we're sort of like not mismatching.
We will be an older team this year.
We'll be an older team with like 5-star talent, like draft picks.
Yeah, I mean you're getting what you want. Like whatever. How can people find you, hear you, support you, love you?
Absolutely. Find me on Twitter, _Charlie_5, AuburnLive.com, message board The Corner. The Locked On Auburn Discord. We have a lot of fun in there. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the Dad Bod Golf Pod. Masters Week. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. We'll be back tomorrow for a War Rapport Wednesday right here on Locked On Auburn. See ya.